Hello, everyone. Good evening. I am on here this evening. In fact, I was not going to come on today at all. It's been a long day, and I have been paying very close attention to everything that is going on with us here in Black America. I had some thoughts about it. I had some intelligent information that I wanted to expose. And I also wanted to share my commentary, which is really my thoughts and opinions about everything that's going on. And I want to start by giving you some history here about it. And then I want to talk about at least two of the cases that are happening. So I don't want to be here too long. I just want to see what your ideas are. So please comment. Also click the notification bell. Click the subscribe button. Please become one of my subscribers because I'm going to be bringing forth lots of other information that I want to share with you. And also give me a thumbs up that you like the video. A lot of my videos have been decreasing in terms of the amount of people viewing them. So if you are a viewer and you're listening to this video, tell your family member, your friends, everyone, tell them to tell their friends and family to come take a look at this video, and also click the notification bell, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and comment. Let me know your thoughts. And I really want to do some live videos here. Right now I'm just trying to see how this pans out for me over the next 30 days. I'm so excited. I have 100 subscribers already, so that's great. So if you are one of those 100 subscribers, I would love for you to come here often and tell me what you think. Tell me about the topics you want me to discuss as well. Today, this video is really quite serious. If you are a W or a white person in America, I want you to please pay attention to this video through the whole way. I want you to hear it, okay? I want to share some information with you since I'm going to be talking to you about the police and about police murderers and the brutality. Before I say that, I want to say, listen, I don't need to convince anyone that Black people are human. People know we are human. They know we're intelligent, we're smart. They know these things. I think what we are dealing with here in America is hate. We're dealing with hate and murderers. Those are two characteristics that will not be in the kingdom of God. When God said thou shalt not murder, he did not say thou shalt not murder unless you are a police officer. Also, when you go over to Galatians chapter 5, he did not say, when he's talking about all of the types that will not be in his kingdom, he lists murderers and hate as two of them. So he does not say hate and murder unless you are a police officer. So these officers, they are putting hate and their desire to murder above the Lord. And they think it's okay. That's troubling. That is very troublesome. That is a mental disability. So I know in my past video when I talked about police forum, I didn't really know what to say about how that looked to me. But now I've had some time to think about it, read some library books, also went on Google. So I have some thoughts about it. At the end, I will share with you what police reform looks like to me. Before getting into that, I want to read something to you. I want to start out by giving the history of the police here. And I found this in a book which correlates to what's online, so it's true. Let's see here. The history of police, okay. Sir Robert Peel, remember that name, okay? He's not Black, he is English. The idea of professional policing was taken up by Sir Robert Peel when he became Home Secretary in 1822. Peel's Metropolitan Police Act of 1829 established a full-time professional and centrally organized police force for the Greater London area known as the Metropolitan Police. When Sir Robert Peel became Home Secretary, he was determined to deal with London's policing problems. The government was anxious to avoid any suggestion that the police was a military force, so they were not armed. So the police in London initially were not armed, which means they did not have weapons, they did not have guns, tasers, even what do you call those? I can't think of the term right now. Oh my gosh, it's in my mind. I have a visual of it, but I can't think of the word. Anyways, whenever you see them with the swords in the movies. Anyway, the modern police force, however, listen to this. The modern police force started in the early 1900s, and this is in the United States that it's talking about now, not in London, okay? The modern police force started in the early 1900s, but its origin dates back to the American colonies. In the South, in the 1700s, patrol groups were created to stop runaway slaves. In the North, a formal police force was created to control immigrants who were moving into cities in the 1800s. So that's how the police were started in the United States of America. In the South, it was to stop runaway slaves. So it wasn't even to stop theft and robberies and all of these other things that you would think that the police would be for. It was for Black people. I want to give another name here. And I want you to remember this name, okay, because this was the first Black police officer in New York City. His name was Samuel Jesse Battle. He is dated, it's showing January 16th, 1883 to August 7th, 1966. That's how long he lived. He reached the status of being a lieutenant. So it was Lieutenant Battle. And I just wanted to throw that out there as a history. Now I'm going to transition and talk about what is happening today. I want to share with you that, and what I am about to say is alleged. It is my commentary, my opinion, so I believe it. The police knew that the Chauvin trial was going to definitely rule against Chauvin. They saw the direction that the trial was headed in. They saw the charges, so they knew he was going to do some time for these murders against Black people. So they have taken it upon themselves to create a civil war against Black people, because that's what's going on now. They are killing Black people, they're brutalizing Black people, and they are taking vengeance on Black America. And the Congress and the Senate are sitting up there watching it, and they know what's going on, and they're saying nothing, which makes them complicit. This is no longer a dignified country. Don't even say it. Don't even say it. It is not dignified. When you watch what the insurrectionists did to the White House was built by slaves, my ancestors. They were built, the insurrectionists went in and they tore the place down. They all looked mentally ill. If you really look at those people, even Marjorie Greene, she looks mentally ill. You do not walk up to another person and harass them on the street. She only does that to Black Congresswomen. She was walking up behind them, harassing them, trying to antagonize them and provoke them. She should not be anywhere near the White House. That's not dignity. It's insane. I want to transition now and talk about Andrew Brown Jr. in North Carolina. And I know that people are saying he had drug issues, he had a criminal history, and it does not matter whether or not he had a criminal history or not. Just because someone has a criminal history or a drug background does not mean that the police should murder them. When I can tell actually, that he probably did have some drug issues because he was very good looking when he was, younger and coming along. And they showed some pictures of him later on, and it did show, like, physically the effect that drugs might have had on him because his whole look was different. It was sad. You get help for people like that. You don't shoot them and take away their life. Now they are having an issue with getting the video cam. Normally when the police will not release video cameras that are on their bodies, they wear the video camera, on their bodies, and of course it translates into whatever is being shown at the station. So when the police refuse to release video cam, though, what that means is they are plotting lies and deceit in order to cover themselves. And I'm sure most of us know that. They're plotting. What they do, the W police or white police work in quite the same way as the W's in corporate America, in that they watch every move to create a lie that will either publicly or legally overtake the truth. So what they are doing is they're watching every slide, every pixel of that video, and they are creating a story so that they can publicly come out and deliver a lie. Okay? They did that with George Floyd, and they would have gotten away with it had it not been for regular civilians with cameras recording everything on their phone. They tried to create all kinds of issues with that. So I want to also say to you as well, I'm going to pause here and say that I have other videos on here that talk about corporate America. So far I've created 2. I'm going to be creating another one next week. I talk in the second one that I created with the EEOC. It talks just about the same thing that happens in corporate America. This is a W issue. When they're not winning, they will create a lie because they don't want blacks to win. They will watch your every move and document it in order to create a lie that overtakes whatever the truth is. Because the public believes the lies. They want to believe the lies. There are no words. There are no words. When you have people who are filled with hate and murderous mindsets, there are no lies. There are no words. So, I digress. I want to move forward and talk about the video cam, because in North Carolina, in order to get the video cam released, the family can go to the court, and there are papers that they can file, and the judge decides whether or not that video cam is going to be released, right? And they can present a strong case as to why it should be released, and the judge can decide that. Even I can drive to Elizabeth City and, go into the courthouse, get the paperwork, fill it out, and ask for that video camera work to be released, right? So I like the media, right? I do. I love journalists. They have a hard job. They're so intelligent and so dignified in the way that they present information to us, and I appreciate it. I wholeheartedly appreciate the educated journalists. I'm not talking about bloggers who never went to college to be a journalist. There are bloggers who are uneducated journalists on YouTube, and it is what it is. They still bring news and information and, interviews and what have you. But I'm really speaking about journalists who really present content in such a highly professional way. I really appreciate that. At the same time, sometimes the content, for example, like the video cam right now, they're reporting it, in my humble opinion, in a way that makes it seem as though the police is holding back the video cam from the family, when in fact the police really has no say over it. The family in North Carolina, the family has to go through a process to get that from the judge. And sometimes families and people don't know what they need to do. But I just wanted to put that out there. Nonetheless, there were enough, I think, eyewitnesses. I think there are 2 people who witnessed it, and they said that he was complying and doing everything that the police asked him to do. And the police shot him anyway. They wanted to. That was in their heads and their minds when they drove up on that young man. Now his children, his grandchildren, his family, his aunts that are left are mourning. And even people who knew him, because Elizabeth City is one of those towns where everybody knows everybody. So you have a lot of people in mourning right now. And just as the Black community, we are in mourning, even though we did not know him. I'm so tired of the W's always saying, well, he did drugs, as if they don't do drugs. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? There are so many W's in this country on drugs. Do they deserve to be dead at the hands of police? Do you know how many policemen, when I look at the Micaiah Bryant case, I'm going to segue into that, how she had a knife in her hand, right? But do you know how many policemen, if you can just look at the show Cops, you can go back and get some video from the show Cops. Do a search for it. Look at it. You will see white men lunging at the police, and the police don't shoot them. Happens all the time. White women lunging at the police, jumping on top of them, beating them in the head, beating them. White women doing that to the police, and the police never shoot them. Now this cop, and even some of our Black family out there, our skin folk, are saying that he didn't have time to grab his taser. I disagree. And this is allegedly, but think about this. This is a cop on the same day that the jurors had decided the verdict for Chauvin. And everyone knew that at the time that cop drove up on Micaiah Bryant, he knew that the jurors were deliberating and that they were likely to come up with a verdict that day. In his mind, he had already determined to get the gun. I don't know which side the guns are, tasers are on. I'm just doing this side. But in his mind, he had decided to already get the gun, because he could have decided before getting out of that car to get the taser. But see, he got out of the car with the gun. He should have gotten out of that car with the taser. Okay? And that's what happened there. He could have used the taser. From what I understand, and there is some audio out there anyway on Instagram and also on Facebook of Micaiah's sister saying that the foster mother in the home actually called those grown women over there to beat the 16-year-old up. We're talking 29, 26-year-old women to beat up a 16-year-old. You know what? The foster system failed her. And now look, this is a sad story. A sad story for a 16-year-old. It's almost as if she never had a chance. And the police have got to be willing to repent. They've got to be willing to repent and to change. Because see, their hatred and their murderous ideas, they're not even thinking about God. They're not thinking about anything godly. They are just thinking about their hate and their murderous mindset. There's no reason for any of these murders to take place. Since May 25th, 2020, fast forward to today, more than 1,000 murderers and police brutality at the hands of police in the United States. More than 1,000. And we only have about 6 or 7 of that. Minute, small percentage. So there are a lot more grieving families, grieving friends in our communities than we even know about. And people are scared. Black people are scared. I want to, let's see, the next thing. I want to say that I think the only reason the police in Ohio released the video cam is because the house across the street had already released their video cam. See, they caught everything on camera. So they had to release that video cam because it was already released. And it makes me think every black person, and if you're black and you're on here, you need to tell every black person you need to get a video cam in your car. Because if the police roll up on you, you're not going to be able to hold your phone because they'll think the phone is a weapon. Even though they'll know it's a phone, they'll accuse you of having a weapon. And later you'll find out that it was not a weapon at all. Okay? So you need to have a video cam on your dashboard or on near your rear view mirror. Something that has a peripheral view of what goes on around the vehicle. Also, you need to have video cameras at your home anyway, inside and outside. And you can even call the spy shops. There are a lot of spy shops in the U.S. and they have, I have some here in the house. They have cameras the size of a needle that you can put in the corners of your wall. And the technology is pristine. So I'm going to try to get that spy shop for one of my videos so that you'll know. I want to also say here, let's see, with Micaiah, the police officer, the other factor that has led me to my opinion that this police officer also was intentional in his murder against her, and he needs to go to jail, prison. But the thing that leads me is he can be heard saying Blue Lives Matter. So that tells you a lot right there, right? He could be heard saying Blue Lives Matter. For some reason they think that Black Lives Matter is against them. They want to think that. They know Black Lives Matter is not against them, but their hate against the black community outweighs their logic. Black Lives Matter is simply a plea from us to get you to see that we are human. It is a plea to say, hey, we're human, please stop killing. It's just, they want to believe the other side. They love the fight. They love to feel like they are superior. They're not superior. I wish we didn't even call them white supremacists, because they're not supremacists. They are so beneath human dignity that you can never, I hate that we even consider them supremacists. Let's see here. I want to also say that I want to remind you that in Florida and in Georgia, both governors have created laws, and those laws are also against Black people. Those are anti-Black laws. Not that they're any, they are laws that were created to hold down Black people. In Florida, they don't want Black Lives marching, Black Lives Matter marching. They don't want civil rights leaders marching. And in Georgia, they don't want Black people to vote. Black people have a harder time getting to the polls than white people. But little do they know, they're also ruining the white people who would probably vote for Republicans as well, because those people are not going to be able to get out and vote. And the fact that you would implement a law saying you can't give people water, that's the devil. Kemp is Satan. Kemp, Trump, the one in Florida, that's evil. How are you going to implement a law that you can't even give people water? Anyone who thinks that that's okay, stay in your lane, really. That's just crazy. But I believe, I'm going to use an analogy. In contract law, if contract law, there are certain things that whenever two people enter into a contract, if any line of that contract is not part of contract law, or it is something that is illegal, meaning that it is not in alliance with contract law, that contract is considered null and void. That should happen with state laws and with governors who implement laws like the one in Georgia and the one in Florida. Those two laws need to either go through the federal process somehow, or they need to just not be allowed. There needs to be a process to say this is null and void, you can't do this. The one in Georgia actually is against the Constitution. So now you have a Governor Kemp who has implemented a law that is against the Constitution. He really did that against Stacey Abrams. That's just how low down and immature and imbecile these grown men are. Their mothers and their fathers did a bad job with them. Did a bad job. Their behaviors against Black people should be unacceptable. Everyone has a right to run for office. First of all, Kemp is not even supposed to be governor. So I forgot about that. So let's just, he's not even supposed, Abrams is supposed to be in that seat. And let's talk about Lindsey Graham again. How Lindsey Graham contacted the Secretary of State in Georgia and that should be considered extortion. How can you call someone and try to get them to create a way so that the votes that are in don't count. Those were his words. He said it. It was, and the Secretary of State of Georgia recorded it. The people of South Carolina need to galvanize and get Graham out of office. He's made you look ignorant. There really needs to be a law that states that governors cannot override the Constitution or the federal statutes. And that's what I'll say about that. Last, I want to say to you that here's what I believe police reform should look like. Just due to what I read to you earlier about the history of police in this country and where it's come from. I think the whole thing needs to be disbanded. I think there needs to be just it just needs to be revamped. All of the police precincts throughout the nation need to be revamped. They need to have some strong forces come in there, do some interviews, and pick the police. I would even say have the police precincts partner with corporate America. Like, you have a lot of corporations here in America. Even though I've had a different experience, I do know that overall corporate America does a really good job with their hiring processes and who they are vetting. I think that it would be a good idea for the police precincts to partner with certain corporations, larger corporations like Bank of America, AT&T, General Motors. I think they should galvanize with these organizations and come up with a strategy about who should be on the police force. I think they need to do a full revamping. They need to have professionals come in there, interview every police officer. And if you have a history, if you have something in your records, you're out immediately. You see, in corporate America, you get 3 warnings. I think now they put it to 4. You're fired. You're out. Some of these policemen like Chauvin have like 12 warnings or more. And they're still on the force. They're on the force because the men and women who look like them, they're so hurt if they have to let them go. Fire their ASSs. For real. So they could do that, partner with corporate America, get some real good, strong psychologists in there, figure out, okay, is this person right for the force or are they not? Put them out. They need to have, I like the George Floyd bill that is coming through Congress. I also think they need to change the name. Just because of where that term came from in the U.S., I think they need to change the name. And that being said, I do want to say this, because I don't think that the police should murder anyone. I don't, of course. But just to Black America, to those who are listening to this anyway, internally, inside of Black communities, people have got to stop doing the same thing to each other. Because what happens too, the other side of this coin is when other people don't see you respecting yourself, respecting your community, they see you bringing down other people instead of lifting them up, they tend to develop certain prejudgments about the Black community. And for example, I still stick by what I said earlier about the policeman who approached Ma'Khia Bryant. Okay, so that aside, let's put that aside. Internally in that community, the people who were standing out there watching these young ladies brawling should have stopped that. The foster mother in that home, why did she think it was okay to have grown women over there to beat up that little girl? Does the Ohio state know that that's what she was doing? Because she should not be a foster mother to any more children. Because you know they get paid per child. She had that girl there just for the money, wasn't trying to rear her or lead her in the right direction or anything. Because the foster care system in most states, they have psychologists on hand and social workers on hand for troubled children. So if she was having a problem with Ma'Khia, she could have easily connected with them. The girl felt like there was no way out. She felt like there was no way out. She had grown women in the house trying to beat her up. She was scared. And then the police rose up on her. She was probably in, her mindset was not even in, she probably didn't even know she had a knife in her hand. And he shot her. He shot her for vengeance. Because he could have grabbed his taser. I don't believe it was spur of the moment issue. It was not a spur of the moment issue. I don't believe that. Just like I don't believe it about the Dante Wright situation. First of all, Dante Wright was already being handled based on the video I saw. The other two police officers who were with her were handcuffing him, doing their thing. Why did she get involved? That's the question of the moment. Listen, you can believe your eyes, as they said in the George Floyd case. You can believe your eyes. Trump won. I think it was 92% of the white women in this country voted for him, and he's a racist. Anyway, I digress for now. Everything I've said was alleged, okay? My opinions, of course, are my opinions. My commentary. Everything here is alleged. My thoughts about the police and how they handled the situation, alleged. So, but we have to pray and just pray that God will intervene, because, well, he's going to intervene because Christ is on his way back. So I'm just really sad. I had to vent. So I came here to vlog, and you guys have a good night. Remember to click the notification bell. Also subscribe and give me a thumbs up and comment on how you feel about this video. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.